So we just finished looking at one particular way of alleviating the pain of mental and emotional disorder. That is, direct attempts to make the pain go away. As we emphasized there, we're all given to wanting the pain to go away. In fact, many of these responses can be necessary, especially over the short term. Over the long term, however, other questions arise. How well do these attempts to make pain go away do over time, especially lots of time? Like before, the place to start with this question is the brain.
If there's something in our physical space that we don't want around, we push it away. The problem is that within our brains, it works just the opposite, that the more that we engage with something, even in pushing it away, the more we bring it in. It's a bit like the old example of, if I tell you not to think about a pink elephant, you can't help but think about the pink elephant. And the more that you try not to, the more you're not able to. Basically because of the way our brain works. For us to reference something that we don't want to think about, we actually have to access it, which means it brings it into our awareness. So we set up a situation where the one thing we're most trying to get rid of is the one thing we're actually inadvertently bringing in.
More work to make challenging emotions stop may have surprising, even contradictory effects. Sometimes even well-intentioned efforts to promote positive emotion seem to complicate things.
People around a depressed person often say, well, just snap out of it. What's wrong with you? There's nothing going on in your life that's bad.
So I had a buddy who was engaged to be married, and he was anxious about it. He was having anxious thoughts come to him about, is this the right person for me? I'm not sure I feel enough. And he was saying, I'm memorizing these positive thoughts, and I'm doing all these exercises to make sure the thoughts go away. And I just said, stop, hold on. This could be making it worse. All of this work to make your thoughts go away and to control them and to force them is going to have a rebound effect.
If you take somebody who's depressed and say, just think happy thoughts, inevitably they fail. And then that just gives them more ammunition to beat up on themselves and say, what a failure I am. I can't even think happy thoughts all the time. So you can see how that can spiral down and backfire by setting up an expectation that's not attainable. We can't think happy thoughts all the time. We can't think sad thoughts all the time. Trying to control thoughts is doomed to failure.
When we try and pressure emotions in one direction, even a positive direction, the subtle message can sometimes be, it's not okay to feel what you're feeling.
When we feel a mood and we try to fix it, we're also saying about ourselves, something's wrong with me. Something's not complete about me. It's our reaction to it and our sense that we have to just go in and fix it and wrestle it to the ground. And we get ourselves into more trouble. That's been my experience.
We're kind of wired to go to a problem. There could be so many things right with me, And yet my awareness darts back to that little cough or that tickle in my throat 1,000 times a day. And because my awareness is flowing in that direction, it creates this experience of feeling like things are not okay. All I experience today is just, I'm getting sick. I'm coming on with the flu. I think mental health, there's a very similar analogy in mental health where we tend to identify with the mess. We tend to become absorbed by the mess.
Interestingly enough, then, our brain is actually set up to be able to detect problems as a good thing. Think of parents who don't watch out for problems that might happen to their children. Not good, right? In the same way, maybe we can stop hammering ourselves so much when we notice, feel, or think about things that may be wrong. Maybe we can apply some gentle curiosity to what, if anything, those feelings mean, and whether they offer any lesson or suggest ways to respond. When it comes to how this applies to depression or anxiety, there's more to say, though. So let's get back to Tom.
We've got these amazing brains that are beautiful at just mapping the terrain around us and detecting danger. And when something's going wrong in ourselves, maybe emotional problems, maybe mental problems, our brains naturally go to that. It's not just a mental or emotional problem that your brain detects. It might be that you're bleeding, or it might be that you're in mortal danger and your brain's telling you that. We tend to focus in on these problems, and that's not a bad thing. But if we focus on them so reflexively and so automatically that our experiences after being awake all day, and at the time we're ready to go to bed, we had 50,000 thoughts, and 45,000 of those thoughts were flowing in the direction of, I just feel depressed, I can hardly breathe, I'm so depressed, I just feel like I'm suffocating, I don't like my job, I don't really have any close friends who understand me. It's not even inherently a problem that that's where your thoughts are going. But I think if we don't learn to access this deeper part of us, this part of ourselves that is aware of that thinking and is aware of that emotional activity, if we don't have some kind of time and some kind of space set aside in our day where we can just appreciate that inherent restful quality of awareness itself, where we can be aware that there are problems coming up, that the emotional pain is profound, and that the mental problems are excruciating, but that there's something that's aware of that. And there's something that's aware of all that, that holds all of that. It's untainted. The deepest part of ourself that can just hold all of life in awareness.